being really mindful and present in the moment was huge. Like that was where I would like kind of dwell on the issues of the past, or like really trying to hyper focus on where the future would go and what was going to happen with my bands or just musically. And it's like I have to just be here now and take care of, like, even so far as like this week that I was in, like that's like as far as I've tried and push it to just maintain a healthy cycle, because it's really easy to fall into that where it's like, man, I wish I changed this. And it's like, just do what you're doing and enjoy it while it's here. Wellness is a lot of things. It's mental health, making sure that you're in the right headspace to maintain the things that you're taking care of and in charge of. Physical health, not that I'm like a huge like workout junkie, but if you're not moving around, you're not going to have that said headspace or anything to really go with that. Yeah, I try and eat good and be good to my body because I want longevity in these things. It all just plays a part in each other. Yeah.
Welcome to the Collaborative Resource Hub by Wellness Provisions. We're bridging the gap between mental health, wellness, and rock and roll. I'm Amy McBride, owner of Wellness Provisions, the most badass wellness business. Hey, are you feeling a little stuck in life? I offer wellness coaching sessions. Book a session with me if you're seeking to get healthy and ahead. Sessions are available worldwide. And check this out. Wellness Provisions supplies rock and rollers with high-quality supplements. We've simplified your shopping experience and given you a trustworthy place to go where you can essentially shop blindfolded. And did you know all our Collaborative Resource Hub interviews air on YouTube as well as all major podcast platforms? Subscribe to stay in the loop. Go immerse yourself in the full Collaborative Resource Hub experience over on our website. You'll have access to helpful resources that will inspire and educate you. So let's inspire each other. If that guy did it, so can you. Last but not least, my legal disclaimer. Nothing in this interview or the Collaborative Resource Hub substitutes medical advice. Please connect with your GP if you need medical guidance. Samson, how are you?
Hi, I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing quite well too. So we're both in good spirits. You've
Makes
got
for a
coffee,
strong day.
and I've got water to drink. So
I'm a drink guy, so I have water too, and then also this wellness shot. So
yeah.
I'm just
So what's in that one?
so this wellness shot, it is ginger, coconut water, pineapple juice, apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, acerola. I'm bad at words. Acerola cherry extract, ginseng extract, a little bit of cayenne pepper. So it's got a lot of good stuff.
I'm surprised there's not turmeric in that, because that would for sure be like in that lineup of ingredients.
I saw the turmeric option when I was buying them, and I was like, I'm just gonna go with the ginger probiotics.
Yeah,
Next
and
time.
lots of vitamin C. Perfect.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, you're into wellness stuff. How about that?
I try to be. I'm trying. That's the key. You're always trying, right?
Yeah. What does wellness mean to you?
Man, what a loaded question.
Yeah.
Because wellness is a lot of things. It's mental health for sure, making sure that you're in the right headspace to maintain the things that you're taking care of and in charge of. Uh, Whether it's big or little, you gotta like always have a good mindset going into things. Physical health, not that I'm like a huge like workout junkie, but if you're not moving around, you're not gonna have that said headspace or anything to really go with that. So you're like, if you're not out there doing things, you're not going to have the clarity to understand that, other stuff's going on, not just your problems. And definitely trying to take care of my gut health as much as possible. Indulging in things is still normal, but yeah, I try and eat good and be good to my body because I want longevity in these things. It all just plays a part in each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything's interlinked.
Mhm.
What do you do for your gut health?
I try and eat as much fresh food as possible, as many veggies because I'm a vegan. I do these wellness shots. I love ginger and probiotics in general. They're just great. Um, I drink a lot of water. I love drinking water.
That's good. Do you do anything, or have you ever tried any like supplements or anything that like specifically like targets healing the GI tract, working on those, that tissue and stuff?
No, I haven't, but this is where you come in to help me facilitate those things better. Because
Yes.
not only is this a learning thing for other people, but it's learning for myself.
I love it. So there's something I just started carrying because so for people listening, I do the podcast, but then I also sell supplements and I do wellness coaching. But there's usually bone broth, which for vegans, it's like, well, what the fuck, is one of the most instrumental things for like repairing the GI tract. But there's
Mm,
something that I carry that's like different, like amino acids and herbs and stuff. So it's all vegan and kosher and probably literally kosher. That helps with repairing the GI tract. So, like just the world we live in, causes just a mess down there, and like leaky gut and all these different, things. So then it throws off your immune system and your like brain function and mood and all of this stuff. So that powder is something legit that you could look at adding in. It's in the shop. I'll send you a link to it. You can look at it and see.
yeah, please do, because it's important to be mindful of those things because we do eat a lot of processed foods. And there's like a certain process that's okay. And then like really processed foods, things that have additives and all these sugars that you don't need. And high fructose corn syrup is a huge issue, mega issue. But yeah, like, yeah.
And so many of the plant seed oils, like the safflower, the cottonseed, the sunflower, because it's like a bazillion steps that it goes
Mhm.
through. Whereas like avocado oil or olive oil or coconut oil, those are good, but the other ones, they just oxidize so quickly. So it's like, hey, I'm just consuming cancer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just another thing to be concerned about among like breathing toxic air and stuff in this world.
Yeah, it's everywhere. So we do what we can.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, is there, I like this question because this just keeps setting the tone for, more interesting stuff. Has there ever been a point in your life that you can look at specifically where you had to like make yourself a priority, to like keep yourself moving in a healthy direction?
Uh, absolutely. I think in the last 3 years, it's kind of been where my headspace is at. Well, I guess more in the last 2.5 years. I was living in Long Beach and I had like the best roommate ever. It's the singer of my band Melted and his wife. And then my buddy Tarf lived there. And we just had this great situation. And they ended up getting pregnant, my friend Justin and his wife, which was awesome. I was super happy for them. But they decided to move to Arizona. And then my buddy Tarf moved back to the Bay Area. So I was kind of just like left alone pretty quickly within a span of like 6 months. And then I had just broken up with a girl like a few months before that. So it was all these things kind of piling up, and I was like, this is not, I was realizing that is a bad place to be already. So I jumped right into therapy and like wanted to take care of my mental health to at least stay aware of where I was at with things. Um, and then I ended up living alone for the first time for a year and kind of just went through this whole transitional period of trying to find my footing again with everything because music wasn't really happening still at that time. And I just like needed to find a healthy path. And it was super difficult for a long time, for
Had
sure.
had you done therapy before, or was that like your first time doing it, or what?
Yeah, that was my first round ever doing like actual mental health therapy. And I loved every second of it. It was super awesome.
Yeah. Was there anything that still sticks with you that you learned that really helped just, get yourself basically reconnected to yourself, I would imagine.
Yeah, being really mindful and present in the moment was huge. Like that was where I would like kind of dwell on the issues of the past or like really trying to hyper focus on where the future would go and what was going to happen with my bands or just musically. And it's like I have to just be here now and take care of like even so far as like this week that I was in. Like that's like as far as I've tried and push it to just maintain a healthy cycle instead of being, because it's really easy to fall into that where it's like, man, I wish I changed this, or man, I wish what I'm doing now will affect this way. And it's like, just do what you're doing and enjoy it while it's here.
And that's the key though, is to enjoy it, to be present and just be doing things. Granted, life happens, obviously, but in general, do things that like make you feel good. So like keep re-steering and regrouping to go in that direction.
Right. Yeah. Like everybody has bad days, and sometimes you're really in those moments. So I try and catch those feelings and redirect it into a positive thing. So like if I have a bad day here where I'm hyper focused on like what several of my musical projects are doing, I get like really anxious about all the future stuff. And it's like, just go for a walk, like go for an hour walk and see how far you can get. And you'll feel a million times better. And generally, I'll come back from those things so refreshed and renewed and excited for those things that I was dwelling on. And even sometimes on that walk, I'll like check my phone and do things while I'm out there. And I'll catch myself and be like, nope, just go back to what you're doing and be here. And that'll get figured out when you get back. It's just an hour of your day.
So what goes on in your brain on those walks?
Uh, well, I'm a big, this this might not fly with the fan base. I'm a big Deadhead. Like I love Grateful Dead. So I'll put on a Grateful Dead show from the past that they have and listen to that and just really get into that instead of like where I'm at. And I'll like enjoy the neighborhood or notice a house or whatever it is that I'm walking by that I haven't really noticed before. But I generally try and focus on the show and what the music is doing, what each musician is doing or what they're playing, and kind of stick to that instead of like my world. That's like my escape that I don't really get escape from a lot of things. I'm generally like really dug into things. I'm in 6 bands, so like I have to be present all the time and focused. So that short amount of time, a few times a week, really helps balance my mental health for sure.
Yeah, it's like a form of meditation because you're letting your brain detach from the thoughts. So
Right.
Grateful Dead aside or whatever. Oh, and I think, is that a sticker of theirs on your? I see the red and blue.
Yeah, it's like a weed California sticker with, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But yeah, like that's because even myself, like I'll go on walks and then I'll like listen to like affirmation stuff or do this like it's this ancient Hawaiian prayer thing called Ho'oponopono. Um, I'll run that in my head to try and just not, hear the noise and the thoughts that are stressing me out.
Right. Anything that can kind of pull you away from the anxiety or the realness of your world for a moment is so beneficial to have in like a common routine if possible, because our world's crazy. We live in a particularly crazy time right now, and just how we were talking about with food and everything, that's a huge anxiety for a lot of people too. So that's another thing people are dwelling on. So if we can just have like more moments of clarity while fixing those things, that's like the golden ticket for sure.
Yeah. Have you ever done like regular meditation or anything like breathing, stuff like that?
Yeah, I've done like just hyper focused on like a either like a mantra or just like a singular thing. I'll do like a 10-minute breathing exercise in like a quieter environment if I can. That sometimes is super beneficial. Sometimes I can't focus for the life of me. So it just depends.
Yeah. And that's good too, knowing like, because I feel like a lot of people think, oh, well, it's not like resonating right now, so this doesn't work. But having a few options, and just being gentle with yourself that like if the singular mantra isn't working, then go for a walk kind of a thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And you got to accept that not every day is the same. So you can have days where it will work. And you're like, man, that was so awesome. So you got to like, it's kind of chasing that dragon, where you're like, oh, I want where that day worked out perfect. I want to try and emulate that as much as possible.
Yeah. Is there anything that you're thankful for knowing now that you didn't know when you were younger that, could have been cool to know then?
Being an adult rules. I like everybody hates it. I think it's awesome. Like
Why?
I didn't get to stay out late with all my friends all the time when I was a little kid, or you know, I don't know. I'm somebody who's like really comfortable with who they are and just very happy to be here. And like I'm like I'm optimistic nihilist where I don't think there's like really a whole lot of reason behind all this shit that we're doing, but I want to make the best of it. Like I'd rather enjoy it while I'm here and have fun and be with my friends and not be like, oh man, life is like, yeah, life is tough, but it's tough for everybody. So we all just gotta, pick up ourselves and enjoy it and have the best time with the moments that are given to us.
Yeah, and it's perspective, you can
Mhm.
choose to see the struggle in something, or you can choose to see the opportunity in something.
Right. And there was a moment in my life, especially in my teenage years, where I kind of had that because I was like a hardcore kid. So I was like, everything sucks, I hate this. And then once I got into my early 20s, that like shifted and I just there's no reason to be mad about stuff. It's like I have a good life. I have great friends. I have people who support me and they like enjoy what I do. They think I'm kind of good at what I do, which is strange. So I also have that imposter syndrome sometimes where I'm like, I don't know how I even got here. Like,
I was
but
just
I'll
gonna,
take it.
yeah, I was just gonna ask, and I was literally thinking like, oh, how am I gonna phrase that? But confidence. So do you have good self-confidence then?
Yeah, I kind of always have. There's been again a few moments in my life where I'm like, man, what am I doing? But most of the time in my life, I've been very secure with who I am. Again, I think that to like the people who I surround myself with and the team I built, my family especially, like they've always been really supportive of all the things that I do. Like my parents right now, again, how I'm in 6 music projects, they're like, you should just go for it. Like just keep doing it. Like don't give up on that. Let those things ride out and hopefully it takes you far. Because I think they struggled a lot for a long time and they want to see me succeed with what I'm doing and be happy doing it. So it's all about that, surrounding yourself around good people and trying to be mindful of yourself and how you're feeling in those with those people and in those things.
Yeah, and truly, because a lot of people could be listening, and be like, oh, well, I mean, if your family sucks, navigating that, it's a separate thing. But like, especially with friends, it's like you can pick, it's choices. You can pick who you surround yourself with. Like, it's a
Totally.
thing. Hmm.
Yeah. I've really had to pick and choose what relationships were worth it in my life. And again, I'm very fortunate that I know a lot of people and I can kind of cycle in and out of groups. And I've hopped in the van with bands I've never been with and gone on tour playing drums for bands that I've practiced with twice. Like that's just kind of how I am. So I could really navigate through society pretty well. And in a way, it can be kind of lonely because it's like, oh, I feel like it's just me. But then I really look at the big circle I have, and it's like it's not. I could reach out to any of these groups after I've established this relationship and feel just as comfortable. So I'm very fortunate.
Do you still have like a close core around you though of like friends?
Yeah, I do. And that's kind of how I joined Last Gang was the bass player of Melted I've known for more than half my life for sure. And he's a great friend of mine and he's neighbors with Sean. So we started hanging out and they needed a fill in and I kind of just ended up fulfilling that role over time, which is
Yeah,
really cool. So like those people, like Sean became a really close friend and Ryan's been a buddy of mine pretty much my whole life.
that's
So
awesome.
mhm.
Yeah,
And then there's other people. I have my buddy Tony I've known since I was 5. Like we still talk and hang out as much as we can. So
that's amazing. I mean, there are people who have friends, that they're current with, it's not like they
right.
go for years without talking, but like pretty like current friends that they've known since they're like kids. And I don't have that. And I just find it just, wow, it's so cool.
It's I think there was a point in my life where I thought that I didn't have those things, and I had to self-reflect where it's like, no, you have all these like people and relationships and tools that you can utilize. Don't set yourself up with this idea that you don't. Because again, ultimately, if you have that mentality, then you're going to try and live that. But if I live this other mentality, then that'll come into fruition more so, I think, over time. Hopefully it does.
No, I mean, you're right, though. I mean, it's self-talk and it's what story are you writing, as if, like you're a character in a movie, because that's
Hmm.
what it's like the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So if you're thinking whatever it is positively, then that's what you're going to be experiencing, versus like if you're setting every scene up for doom and failure, then that's what you're going to keep getting.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Here's an advert in less than 50 seconds. Are you sick and tired of feeling sick and tired? Do you want to feel better in your mind and body? Then check out the wellness coaching that I offer. It's kind of like therapy. You can share what's on your mind, and then it's all about taking action. You'll learn new tools to help you heal and grow through what's tripping you up. We can focus on anything from physical health to mental health. Schedule a free 15-minute consult over on the website to learn more. And check out our Healthy Touring course. This self-guided online video course is for any level of musician. Whether you tour all the time or only sometimes, you'll learn a ton if your goal is to play better, feel better, and be better. With special appearances by members of Descendants, Teenage Bottle Rocket, The Last Gang, The Lawrence Arms, and more. Head over to the website for all the details. Now, back to the interview. What kind of stuff do you do? Is there anything else that you haven't mentioned that helps keep you, like, your stress levels balanced? Or even if like you get like, like if there's like negative feedback on something, or just like curveballs, what kind of stuff helps you feel balanced there?
Man, playing drums, I think that's like it's my biggest stress maker and biggest stress reliever at the same time. It's so weird how it does both, but like I think that's why I'm so lucky as a musician to do what I do, is that yeah, it's real work. Like bands nowadays work really hard to do the stuff that we do, but like it's also like our passion. Like it's not just like I really don't just do it for fun. Not that I don't respect the people that just do it for fun, but I wish, especially the ones that have a lot of talent, would push as hard as I do, because I feel like it's a hefty race, with all these other people competing with, and it shouldn't feel like that. I feel like it should just stay fun because it's art. But it's relieving in a sense that at the end of the day, it is just something that I enjoy doing no matter what. So I could get all worked up about it and then set up and play, and then it's like, well, it was worth it. That was still worth it. Even
Yeah.
when I'm doing human issue stuff, we've done like mini tours together, and our sets are like 12, 15 minutes max.
I
And
think
it's
they're
like
at like 20 minutes now because they have a couple more songs.
yeah, I'm proud of them. I saw Ryan show me a video from the set, because Ryan and Melted is also in Human Issue. And
Yeah. I met him in DC when they toured through there. I went up to DC.
he's a gem, isn't he?
Yeah, he was cool dude.
Yeah, I love that guy. Um, I'm like the more like happy version of him, I think. We're like very similar. When we're in the same room, it's like the same person. People are like,
Oh,
fuck you
wow.
guys. But uh separate tangent. Oh yeah, he showed me the video of them playing for 20 minutes. It's like, I'm proud of you guys. That's good.
Yeah.
So, but that like we'll go on tour. We'll drive 6 hours to play 15 minutes. And it's like, is this worth it?
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's worth it though. It's worth it for the connections I make and the friends that I see when I'm out on the road. It reminds me that again, that this is bullshit. Like this doesn't really matter. I could go anywhere and do the same things and feel negative, or I could be happy about it. So
Yeah. It's what's in your blood too. You're passionate about it. And it's like you don't you don't really have a choice. I mean, there's some people where, their purpose is so strong within them. Even, I mean, because it's always going to be a duality of frustration and then like loving it. But like, if it's in you, it's in you.
Hmm. Right. I've been playing drums since I was 9. So it's been my whole life pretty much dedicated to this specific thing. And not that I haven't found other ventures that I enjoy, because there's a point in my life where I do want to like hopefully pull the reins back a little bit, not be in 6 bands, and like can enjoy other aspects of life because there's so much to do in this world. But it is such a big focus that I want to also dig really deep and see how far it gets me before I do that. So luckily we have this thing called time. So
Yeah.
I hopefully have a few years where I could really push this and then do something else. We'll see.
Or the idea that time doesn't really exist. And
Well,
maybe,
yeah.
yeah. So there's that. But um do you ever have to like, I don't know, work at keeping yourself disciplined or anything like with drums? Or are you like good on that front? Or
My discipline is definitely just playing a lot. That's what keeps me consistent and focused on it. When the pandemic first hit, I was like, cool, I could take a break. Like this is nice. And then it turned into like a few months. And then it was like 6 months. And then I was like, okay, what the hell is going on? And getting back into that lifestyle was pretty hard. Like it was hard to like there are days now where I'm like, I don't want to go on tour. Fuck that. I'd rather just like be home and like do the stuff that I do, like going on walks and taking care of my mental health and focusing on that stuff. Um, so it took a while over the last year to really get back into that. And then when we did our summer tour in Europe last year, I was like, this is why we do it. I really remember that like it's the adventure of it all. Like you gotta like be willing to sacrifice it all for this fun. And that's what kind of got me back to really pushing it again. And that's why I joined so many projects because I was like, I just want to keep playing drums. I just want to do this everywhere.
and it's having, I mean, like with anything in life too, it's having that balance, like,
Hmm.
appreciating the good and appreciating the bad to appreciate the other.
Yeah, I never really liked working full time because who does? You know, some people do. Some people are into that life, and uh, I think I'd be more accepting of it if it was like more passion driven. So even if it wasn't music necessarily, as long as it was something I was super passionate about. But I haven't found that yet, so I'm just really digging deep with the drums thing.
Yeah, that's what you're passionate about. Just keep doing it.
Yeah, for now.
You put something on the submission form that I want to mention because I loved it and I wrote it down, so I'm going to read it. Talking about staying focused on the journey presented to you rather than dwelling on the journey that you're not on. Go.
Yes, it's super important to be mindful of what you've done to get where you're at. And then once you're there, don't don't hyper focus on where you're not because you're already there. So you have control of where that's going to go. Like you're it's not like a train that's running rampant. Like you have a decision that you make in all these things, you know? And I try and take a step back from where I'm at, like, and look at all of it from a higher point of view, a different focal point. And I put myself in the position I'm in. So I'm gonna take control and do what I want to do with those things for sure. And not worry about all that other crap.
Hmm. Good. It's a good mindset. Do
It's
you?
I think it's vital just for musicians and well, I mean all people, but like if like I've been in bands where people are like, why are we doing this? They're doing that. It's like, who cares? Don't worry about it. We're doing this. And we're way cooler.
Yeah. But I mean, but that's, yeah, like staying, like honoring what, like, I don't know, not dealing with like competition. Like competition can be healthy, but like just staying focused on what has meaning to you through the music
Hmm.
or through like whatever. Like Otherwise, you're all over the place.
I'm just really into like passion projects.
Mhm.
I want to put like my whole heart into things. And that's what the last Melted record was. And like, here's a pitch, buy our record. We haven't sold a lot of physical copies, but like it was a really tough process, but I loved the outcome of it. So it was all worth it. So it's about shifting the mindset of being like, man, that was fucked up. Like we screen printed 250 covers and hand labeled all the records ourselves. Like I did all that shit. But at the end of the day, I was like, this is awesome. It looks cool. It feels cool. Like if people ever buy it, they'll be stoked on it. That's all that matters to me. Like I'm just glad that I did this huge art piece that's in the world,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. You let yourself create it, like to be present creating it, because that's obviously part of it too. Yeah.
because I wanted to shift the mindset of like, oh, here's our record, somebody else does it, it's out of our hands. That's cool sometimes, but I wanted to like be like, no, this is ours. We own this specifically. Like we did everything. We didn't rely on anybody. And that's truly just what matters to me, that I get to do stuff like that instead of like, did it sell a ton of copies? Whatever.
Yeah. The whole process was just satisfying for you.
hmm And you learn from those things. Like I said, it was stressful, but I learned that like not to do it a certain way next time, or do this part of the process differently. Like I don't take it as like I'm never doing that ever again. It's like, cool, maybe not all of that was right. I could do it better next time, or do this a
Yeah.
little different. So
Yeah. Regrouping and refining. I mean,
mhm.
nothing is ever like a perfect, like hit or miss or whatever. It's all like, well, for people that have the wherewithal to keep themselves moving forward, like, yeah, you just keep redefining what worked or didn't work and do more or do less.
That mentality falls in with the self-care that we all need to do, where we're moving around and eating a little healthier when we can, and checking your thought process instead of just like letting it happen. A lot of people don't like think before they do things, and that's crazy to me. Like that's so bizarre. I'm like, you don't like think about it for like 2.5 days straight like I do before I make a conscious decision on something. You just say yes to stuff. That's wild.
But what if the yes was just like super loud for them, you
Like
know?
what? Like,
Well, like, doing something. It was like they didn't need to think about it. It was just like clear.
sure, I understand that sometimes. Some people just like fire off the hip sometimes. I'm like, how did you, why are you signing up for all this stuff that I know you can't do, but whatever. All right.
But you actually that's a good point because and it's not like, I know you're not like judging them or whatever, but the idea
No.
that like everybody has their own journey and their own path, and like you might be seeing a friend or a partner or whoever, and you're like, oh my god, like what are you doing? But they're learning obviously what they need to on their time, so I don't know, I think
Yeah.
it's cool.
At the end of the day, I'm supportive of everybody as long as they're not harming themselves, obviously. I want people just to be happy and push themselves and be excited about what they're doing. But it is funny to have perspective and be like, no, I don't know. But then you just got to let them do it for sure.
Do you feel like you overthink though, or not?
Sometimes I definitely do sometimes. Kind of plays the part with trying to check my mental health when I can. I there's some like particularly finances. That's like a huge weight on my mental well-being. I'm like, man, it's so hard to exist in this world. And then I'm like, doesn't matter. You're still gonna do what you want anyway. Whether you have $5,000 or $5, I'm still gonna try and do what I want.
Yeah. Have you ever explored the whole like money mindset, and having energy blocks around like money at all?
No, I haven't myself.
It's a thing. It's definitely a thing. And it's interesting how what we observed growing up and what we just subconsciously like well, like unconsciously here, just from the world we live in, how that shapes how we perceive money, and like just the crazy limitations that we put on our worth. And it's just like, it's nuts. Like, I've been restructuring my money mindset and like working on that because it's fucking crazy.
I think it's very vital, especially like how we deal with money and how we think of how we deal with money. I have a lot of friends who are really into like the like crypto world, and that's not like really relative. It's more that we're all trying to shift our perspective of how we deal with it and how we can like not hyper focus on being a millionaire and more so like how we could help everybody with money over time.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's part of like shaping, having a healthy, relationship with money, because so many people are like, oh, being rich is, what an asshole. And like, you're just buying all this expensive stuff or whatever. But it's like, you can be rich and use that money for, important causes, or like supporting your friends, or, putting it towards companies who make products, that are like super awesome for the planet and for your body. So it's
Mhm.
like, I want to be super fucking wealthy because like I want to use my money for so much good.
Right. Yeah. I think if there's an accumulated wealth, especially in my friend group now, we've all talked about how we can invest it communally to where we all grow and we're not losing, we're all gaining from that. Because it's important to rebuild and restructure your community positively. Because if we're not all succeeding, then we're all kind of going to fail, you know?
Mhm.
And that's super important now to kind of reinvent the way we deal with things in our society because it's not working. Like what we're doing in this world isn't really working right now.
Yeah. Would it like, do you have an example of like what you would want to do in that like scenario?
I am a good facilitator. So I don't really like have a specific passion of my own, but I've always thought of having like a multimedia company of sorts where like I have friends who build cabinets and I have friends that do quilts and I have friends that do like video production and I have friends that do audio production and it's kind of like incorporating all these things into one like massive art conglomerate that kind of paves the way for the community to utilize these tools and it's paying everybody else back at the same time because we're all using it too.
Yeah, like a closed ecosystem collective kind of thing.
Hmm. That is open for everybody to utilize, but like it's I don't also want to have the restriction of being like, oh, you do video production for us, you only work for us. It's more like I want anybody to be able to do whatever they want while being invested in this thing.
That's cool. Do you feel like there's like actual legs to that, and, getting that set up?
I have some friends who are interested in kind of the same world of like, I don't want to invest in like company A. I want to do what I'm doing, and it's convincing them that that is possible and interweaving these things together in one place is doable. I have some friends that are kind of on the fence just because they're financially restricted or they have that idea that that like taking a chance like that is really risky, and it is. But I think it's plausible for sure. It's
Yeah.
just finding a way to facilitate all these things without like over managing all this stuff.
Yeah. And still remembering that like awesome stuff happens in risky areas or in uncomfortable areas. That's when all the cool stuff happens.
Hmm. So like, and this is getting like super detailed into it. The idea is to have like, let's say there's video production that's happening and there's music that goes to it. I want like the cabinet people or the artists to be able to utilize that stuff for free within the company and use it in their media that they're putting out, and that's reinvesting into the product more or less. So it's not like you're having to pay out a bunch of people to do this stuff. It's all in the same wheelhouse, the same boat.
Yeah. Like different departments or whatever. So
Hmm.
like, yeah, that's
But they're
cool.
all supportive of each other and kind of rely on each other anyway.
Yeah. I think that's neat.
it's definitely an interesting concept. And I think it probably, like on paper, it would probably look crazy and I'd probably not want to do it. But again, I'm slowly talking to friends in the community and other musicians that don't want to like have like a regular job anymore. And they're trying to find creative ways to stay afloat. And this is something that can start small and eventually grow, I think.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's cool. Um, are there any tips or what I want to say, things that you focus on when you are on tour and want to keep your headspace good, want to be as healthy as you can, when you don't have the same kind of like lifestyle in your day to day that you do at home?
Definitely live in the now. Try and be present in whatever city or van you're sitting in for 12 hours. Find a good team to go on the road with. Those are all important things. You got to find people who love you just as much as you love them and invest in this. It's a job. Like it's hard work to do all this stuff with these people for 4 or 5, 6 weeks at a time. It can get crazy sometimes, but trying to just live in the present and not eat a bunch of crappy foods all the time, which is me. I love gas station junk food. I love candy. So I try and the best part about touring with Last Gang is I have Sean and he's like so healthy and he'll
Yeah.
just like he'll give me that look like you're buying $6 worth of candy. I'm like, maybe not. Maybe I'll just get a water. All right. So, but like when we were in Europe, we like he got me back into eating granola and whole oats and like just doing like healthier stuff, you know, and then doing wellness shots on the road and like just trying to be mindful instead of just like, yeah, we ate cheeseburgers 4 days in a row.
Do you make time to like get movement in or, exercise like at all or anything like that when you're out on the road?
Yeah, so like my job specifically is pretty physical, so I don't lift weights or like run or do any of that stuff, but we always get up early and try and walk around the city as much as we can, get a couple miles in. I'm a big fan of getting up at like 7 or 8 and getting some coffee and walking around and seeing some stuff for a couple hours before you have to leave. So we
Yeah.
definitely do that a lot.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's sunshine, it's movement. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, Sean, I made like a healthy touring course. So it's like an online, like self-guided video course thing. There's a workbook, and I had like interviews, a few that were specifically filmed for that course. And yeah, Sean and I did one for that. It was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. His life drastically changed, and I'm so proud of that guy. Because I knew him at the tail end of drinking, and he he struggled, like not gonna lie, and he is like killing it at life now. Like I'm so proud of that guy. I'm so lucky to call him my friend. Like I'm very lucky to be in his life for sure. He ran a marathon yesterday.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, so proud of the guy. Came into practice all sore, slowly walking. It was great. Love it.
Wait, he ran a marathon and then you guys had band practice later?
Yeah, and he still made it. Drove
Fucking
himself and
brutal.
everything. Yeah, yeah, he's a champ for sure.
Wow. That's cool. That's awesome.
Hmm.
Um, do you have a quote that you like a lot or several quotes?
Yeah, I have a few. I told you earlier, I'm not like a quotes guy, and then I thought of three, and I was like, oh, great. But I'll do two instead of three because three is a lot. I have this one tattooed on me. My favorite band is Bleeding Through. They're a old Orange County hardcore band, and I have "My Will Is Stronger Than Before" tattooed on my arm, and I love that because when I do reflect on the past, I know that I've learned from it, and I am a stronger human than I've ever been. So it motivates me to stay forward and forward thinking. So I really love that specifically. And then my friend Mike, I don't know where he got it. It's probably just like an old quote. I don't know where it comes from, but Mike Canberra from Adolescence and Death by Stereo, we were talking one day because we text every now and then. He said, Rising tide lifts all ships. And I love that. Like, that is like, cool. If I take that mantra and I'm working hard and I'm like pushing my friends, then we're all going to succeed. And he's like a musician I really look up to, like, and we're like homies. And he's like, no, like, you're so great. And I'm like, no, you're so great. Like, we do that shit back and forth all the time. But like, when he said that, I was like, yeah, dude, we're going to do it. Like, we're going to succeed. All of us are going to succeed.
That needs to be like the tagline for the whole like thing that you want to create.
Yeah. Rising tide lifts all ships. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, it needs to be for that, for sure. Because that's exactly what the purpose of the, I don't know what you call it, company. I don't know, whatever the thing that you want to like.
Yeah, it's like a multimedia commune of sorts.
Yeah.
I want it to be like a commune, not a company, not something like, because that's so like, to me, that's like outdated. We're here for the people. I want to take care of my family and my friends. That's like my community.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you guys in any of your bands have anything coming out that you want to share for like spring, summer?
there's so much going on. So literally after this drops, so 4-5, 4-6, Melt is going on a little Phoenix and Bay Area run. We're doing 4 shows in 3 days. That'll be really cool. We're doing Phoenix, Bullhead City, and San Francisco matinee show, and then we're playing with Sam I Am that night in Oakland. So that'll be a good few shows. I'm super excited about that. And then Last Gang will be on the road for 5 weeks this summer, all through June. I'm doing punk rock bowling with my band Side Eyes, and then we're hitting the road from there. Last Gang. So
Cool.
That'll be cool. Doing some Bad Cop dates, and then Canada for a week, and then we're doing Mad Caddy shows, and then we're going to wrap it up with No Effects show. So that'd be cool.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's going to be super fun. I'm excited for you.
Thanks. Yeah, it's going to be a really fun summer. And then we're writing. I think hopefully we'll try and hit the studio at some point this year. We'll see. We'll see if that happens.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hanging out. You got to drink your wellness shot. You brought it.
Oh yeah, I'll do it right now. I gotta mix it. Gotta make
Yeah.
sure it's shaken up really well. All right.
And then it's
We'll
going to
do it
give
right
you
now.
like superpowers and crazy awesome immune support.
Yeah, it's gonna start my day right for work because I got work later. So
Oh, you do?
yeah, I work at a program skate shop. If people aren't familiar with that spot, you should look it up. It's great. So cheers, friend. Cheers.
Yes. Salud.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for sharing your perspective and your outlook on life, because I dig it. I like your ability to be mindful and present, but also forward thinking at the same time. So you've kind of like mastered that paradox, I think.
It's a work in progress always. It's never mastered.
You've
but
mastered the paradox, okay?
It's mine. I own it. Yeah, I'm forever learning, and I'm very lucky to have perspective and kind of be able to pull back and look at all this stuff in my life and be grateful for it. So very fortunate.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Away the flesh and see the driving force within. Slaves to breath and mind alike against the crumbling. Not a place to sit and rest, never to be free. Take it for a worthless pulp alive and suffering. We should know it's all fun. Sickness comes and rocks away of life without defense. How are we supposed to know it's